Welcome to Talking Mopars episode number 119. This is part 2 of the 4-part replay of the live stream that we had on Friday night, the open house. So, without further ado, if you are a Mopar enthusiast, then you are in the right place. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into the best Mopar enthusiast-driven podcast on planet Earth, and I am your host, Chris Albrecht, better known as the Mopar Hunter, and this is Talking Mopars Live.
You're listening to Talking Mopars with the Mopar Hunter, your direct connection to all things Mopar.
Before we get into the juicy meat of this episode, I have to ask you guys a question. Is your Mopar protected? Whether it's sitting outside in the elements or inside the safe confines of your man cave, it's important to keep your Mopar protected. That's why I'm excited to announce that I'm now affiliated with a company offering an amazing solution for vehicle protection. They have everything from basic indoor shields all the way to the top-of-the-line platinum shields, offering the very best protection to keep your vehicle safe both indoors and outdoors from elements like dust, water, snow, and even UV rays. Their products are guaranteed to fit and are backed by a great warranty. To find out more about my new affiliate, please visit TalkingMopars.com, click on the Affiliates tab, and follow the link to their website. If you need protection for your Mopar, don't worry, we got you covered. We've got a couple of my buddies in the green room right now. Let's bring them in. One is Dylan and the other is Logan. What's up, gentlemen?
What's going on?
Welcome to the show.
I've got three things going on here, so hold on. Give me a minute.
I'm just watching Mecum auction reruns right now, so.
Hey, I've been hearing a lot about some of the prices for these cars. Is it really that crazy? I haven't been watching it today.
65 grand for a Duster.
What? Wow. What kind of Duster are we talking here? Are we talking numbers matching?
Numbers matching. I mean, it's not a speck of anything wrong with it.
Wow. That's a lot of money for an A-body. Holy shit. That's got to make an A-body owner go, hey, that might be in some money here.
Right?
Yeah, I saw I think it was a Macho Power Wagon clone that I heard went for like 50 something grand. I was like, that blew me away. I was like, oh my God, crazy.
Yeah, I know there's I don't know if it happened during the week or whatever. It was a super stock Dart that was never raced, anything that was going to be up for auction. I don't know how much it went for, if it even went yet.
Wow. That's one of my dream cars. I would love to get my hands on one of those, but that's a original super stock Dart or any of those super stock A bodies, the Barracuda too, 6 figures easily.
Oh, easy.
I remember for a long time it was touted as like the most badass muscle car ever made, but I always thought it was a little bit skewed because it technically wasn't street legal. So I was like, that's kind of
right.
Definitely a cool car for sure. So what do you got going on right now? Is the Duster down for the winter?
Down for the winter. I made a contract deal with my boss because I don't have a garage. He has a giant shop. So for, I think it's like $55 a month and whatnot, I'm storing it there, heated, climate controlled. I mean, everything. He's like, problem is you can't work on it. And I was like, dude, you're going to kill me here.
Yeah, I feel like an asshole because I was like, you know what, I'm going to get a couple more cruises in with the Mr. Norm truck, before winter hits. And then I got hit with a snowstorm. So now I raced to get covers for it. And thankfully the snow's gone now, so I can get it into the garage. But that was a bad move on my part. Winter came really quick and we got deep in it really fast. So I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like here. I mean, it was pretty stagnant for a while. We weren't getting any snow, and all of a sudden we just got crap load of snow and cold weather. And now I think today it was like mid 30s. So it felt like a nice spring day for us.
What do you think about this No Name Nationals event?
It's interesting.
Right?
it's, I mean, it almost reminds me, it kind of, I wouldn't say it's similar, but almost like the Gambler 500
Yeah, for drag racing.
for drag racing. Yeah. So, I mean, it's,
yeah.
I mean, if I had, the resources and whatnot, I'd participate in it, but
Save a few pennies and fly down.
I got a family trip to go to Texas in March, so I got to do that. And then I'm trying to save up the rest of my vacation time to go to like SEMA and PRI.
Yeah, sure. There's just so many. That's one thing I'm having a real problem with is deciding which events that are a priority for me and which ones I'm going to try to make, but probably won't. Like the first event of the year for me is going to be Muscle Cars at the Strip in March. So that's going to be a good one. That's the 20th anniversary. Johnny Mopar is going to be joining me there, and I'm sure a bunch of our friends are going to be there. But I got, I just decided to get the plane tickets and the hotel, and I got myself I got a cooler rental car this time. Last time I was down in Vegas for SEMA, I got the V6 300C. I wasn't going to cut it. I was like, I should have got something cooler. And I'm not sponsored by them, but if you guys are looking for a rental car, try Turo. That's Turo. So that's what I use. And you can get, Challengers, Chargers, exotic sports cars if you want. I opted for a Charger Scat Pack wide body for like $80 a day. I was like, damn, that's cheap. So
now, can you go out of the state with those, or do you have to stay in state?
I don't know about. I think you can go out of state because you have a certain amount of mileage. You can pay for unlimited mileage. Some people include that in the standard rental fee. But I've never seen anything about not taking it out of state. So that I have seen things like no burnouts, things like that. But so if you do rent a car from Turo and you get a little crazy with it, just make sure you wipe the rubber off. But I know that some guys put GPSs in their rentals, and they can see if you've accelerated really fast, how fast you've been going every time you stab the throttle. Like, it's super detailed data that you can get from these GPS units. So
holy cow,
can't get too crazy.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Dylan, what's up, buddy? You ready to join us or what?
I think so.
What you got? what you got going on, man? First time guest.
Oh yeah, terrible Wi-Fi. That's something.
I dealt with that for a long time, dude.
We're out in the middle of nowhere, and of course we're just getting hammered with snow right now. And
oh gosh,
I don't know if you can hear a cat in the background. I just saved a cat about 3 hours ago.
That was nice of you.
I call it my Hellcat.
That's funny.
No, it's going good, I think. So I decided not to work today. So, and I'm glad I didn't, because there's wrecks everywhere.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I live up in the Seattle area, and every time it snows, people like forget how to drive in it. So there's wrecks all the
Typical.
Yeah. You have a really cool car, and you haven't had a chance to tell your story yet. So if you want, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I've got it's a 1970 Dodge Challenger RT. It is a matching numbers car. The whole story on it, it's kind of a lengthy little story. My dad, he bought it in 1980 for $1,500 from a guy. It was sitting out on a farm. This farmer, it was about 20 miles from. I'm originally from Southwest Iowa. I live in Southeast Iowa now. And anyways, at the time, my dad worked at Pizza Hut in high school. And he was working the day he wanted to go buy the car. So he sent his brother, my uncle. And my uncle at the time had a 70 Cuda with a 383. Okay. It wasn't a Magna. It was just a bare stock 383. And so he sent my uncle to go buy this car. And bring it back to town while he was working, and paid the $1,500 or whatever. And my uncle showed up to Pizza Hut when my dad was working. He was just pissed. And Dad couldn't figure out why. And he was like, "This thing is ridiculous." He was like, "My Cuda doesn't even stand a chance." And so anyways, Dad had it through high school, and of course, like any kid back then in 1980, 81, 82, he was drag racing it all the time. And whether he didn't tell me any stories of him losing or not, all of his friends that are alive today tell me they've never seen that car lose a race. And I was like, whatever, but anyways, long story short, in 82, when he graduated high school, the motor was starting to get a little weak. And after he graduated high school, he decided to pull the motor out and have it rebuilt. And the guy that he had rebuild it back home in Southwest Iowa, he's still my engine builder to this day. His boy built my race car motor that I had, and his dad, they still own just a father-son engine shop back home in Atlantic. And believe it or not, I actually printed out just before you went live the build sheet from 1983, the receipts.
Oh, cool.
And I still got them, as well as I still have all the original paperwork to the car, the factory paperwork and everything. But
wow.
Dad, he never got around to putting it back together after it was rebuilt. And so it just sat in the garage or the shop or whatever. And in 90, whatever year my parents got married, before I was born, everything was just sitting in the garage or whatever. And come 2000, I don't remember what, he'd probably remember better than I would. Whatever year the Mopars started to go up in value really, really fast. And Dad always said, by this time I was born, Dad always said, my dream is one day you and I are going to rebuild this car. He was like, and that way I can hand it down to you when you're older. And, because I never heard it. I knew about it. I accidentally ran into it with my bicycle one time and got my,
Oh no.
got my tail whipped pretty good for that one. But, anyways, I got to high school and, it just always sat in the garage. We always just had it there, and, my friends would come over and I was like, look at this car that one day I'm going to get. And I know nothing. I knew a little bit of stuff because always being with Dad and always talking about Mopar stuff all the time, but I didn't actually know, like, my mindset at that time was just like, oh yeah, I got this sweet car, whatever. I don't know how to do anything or work on anything.
Sure.
But my mom and dad ended up getting divorced, and my dad never, he didn't care about anything. He just wanted me in the divorce or whatever. I was 14 at the time. And so my mom tried to take the car.
Oh no.
Just to piss him off. And during this whole court process deal, the judge would, he asked, like, he mentioned to Dad that she's trying to go after the car. And in the middle of the court, Dad was just like, oh, she can't have it. He's like, the car's not mine. And everybody was just kind of scratching their head. They're like, what do you mean? The car's not yours. It's that car, even to this day, is in my grandmother's name. And my grandmother's still alive. She's 81 years old. And so it belligerently just ruined my mom's whole plan. And man. So the car basically, because she would have got a hold of that, we're, toast.
Oh, man.
And so that kind of added to the story a little bit. Well, anyways, fast forward to 2014, my dad passed away to cancer. And at that time, I had a little bit of his, life insurance money and whatnot, but I went back go-kart racing. I raced go-karts for a while, and then
cool.
Did that, got away from home, got away from everything, and sold my race car. And I was like, I need to do something with this car. Like, God forbid I ain't going to sell it, but
yeah.
I need to do something with it. And a family friend of my dad's, my dad's, to this day, he's got some of the best friends in the world that look over me still. And one of my dad's buddies, I call him Pop now. A lot of the videos and pictures I share are in that shop, his own mechanic shop back home, or his machine shed where I keep everything still. And he said, "You help me put together a truck I've got in one of the bays." And he was like, "We'll move that truck out. We'll bring your car down, and you can start. We can start going to town on it." And I really didn't have a whole lot of money. I literally was the point I was selling like my furniture in the house, and
Oh man.
I sold the TV. And so anyways, we got the car down there and got the engine down there and transmission down there, because everything was separate, but it had been rebuilt. Obviously, it just never got put back together. And we got it down there, and the first thing I did is, it sat for 30 plus years, and excuse me, Dad had it like the heads, he didn't have valve covers on it, but he had like, it was wrapped in duct tape and like plastic bags, like grocery bags. And so there's like chunks of like plastic bags and duct tape chips. Anyways, I had my engine builder, Bryce, come down to the shop. I was like, "Can you help me take these heads off, so you can kind of show me what I need to do?" And I've got the pictures. I'll have to send them to you. I pulled the heads off, and after 35 years of sitting, they were like glass. I mean, you could eat off of them, spotless. Wow. And he was like, "That's about the best thing you can see right now."
Sure.
And it still had all the pre-assembly lube on it after I pulled the valley pan or the valley tray. And he was like, "I'll take the heads up to the shop, clean them up, go through them, make sure they're good." And he was like, "You can throw this thing right back together and get it ready to throw in the car." I was like, whew, sweating bullets there. And so I had my older half brother. He works at a parts store. I had him order me a set of headers, just cheap long tube Headman headers that I think this will be the fourth time I've had to weld holes up in them, because they just keep blowing holes through. And but Dad's best friend surprised me when it was down at the shop. I slaving on this thing, trying to get the motor put in. One of the guys locally, he's had his car featured in a couple Mopar magazines. His name's Brad Reapy. He's got that all black Roadrunner with the Pro Stock Hemi in it. And it's got like saw blade wheels and everything on it. Anyways, he was the only person I could get a hold of that had motor mounts for my car. I couldn't, nobody around us really had Mopars other than my dad's best friend and this guy. And so I kind of felt ripped off a little bit, but I spent a good chunk just on motor mounts and got that in, got the transmission in. And Dad's best friend showed up one day with a brand new set of Krager SS's and BFGs. And he was like, "This car is not leaving the shop unless it looks like the way your dad left it." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And anyways, he had his car show coming up, and I was trying to get it done for his car show, because he didn't think it was going to be ready in time. There's just too many little things that needed done. And I couldn't figure out the kickdown situation, because even now today, I'm still learning a lot of stuff. I've always been a Mopar fanatic, but I wasn't there to work on it with my dad, and my dad knew everything about that car. And so I was just kind of fly by wire with who I call Pop and whatnot at the shop and everything. When I put everything together, I was going by that 1970s Hayes manual or Shilton manual, whatever it was. I didn't use, I looked at the internet for some stuff, but all torque specs and everything, I used that old book, and we still have it. And that thing I still go to for all references. And we ended up about an hour before his car show started. We had like 6 guys in there. It looked like a NASCAR pit stop, because I had guys like under the hood, and they were like, "Don't get out of the car. We're adjusting the carburetor and this and that, and the kickdown, so on and so forth." Well, they couldn't get the kickdown figured out. And so they just decided, they're like, "Screw it. We're going to shove the kick down, have it wide open so the transmission's got fluid to go through, but we're just going to tie it up. That way you only got first gear. That's all you need. You got first gear and reverse. That's all you need. I don't care. Whatever. And pulled it out and showed up. We're rolling up to my dad's best friend's car lot for this car show. And driving down the street and my hands look, just shaking. You're getting the leg pump and it's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do with my hands. And of course, me being me, and still to this day, I run at open headers and I'm about 3 blocks away and I'm just coasting it in neutral, just slapping the throttle as hard as I can to literally, no joke, everybody's moving up from the car lot to the highway as I'm pulling in. And standing right there is my dad's best friend and just ghost white and couldn't believe it. And so he the only bad thing is when I was coming into his entrance, there's a little lip in his drive entrance and I nicked the oil pan right on it.
Oh shit.
Oof. And so the whole car show, I'm RTV siliconing my oil pan while everybody else is like surrounding the car looking at it. And that was one of the coolest experiences with that. And I decided, since I got it done, I was going to go back to college and I was going to take the red car with me, which is a terrible idea. And where I was going to go to college was Arkansas City, Kansas. And that's from Atlantic, Iowa, where I'm from. That's about a 6.5-hour trip in a normal vehicle. That car, I've still got the 410 gears in it, open headered. At that time, it was with the 284, 484 purple shaft cam. And I let that thing sing. It took me 10 hours to get down there because I took all highways. And I was scared crapless. I slept in the car the first 2 nights because I didn't want anybody near the car. I didn't know anybody for hours of me. And I was down there for like 3 weeks. I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. I'm going back home. And but I got a picture of like right next to the Oklahoma, so like welcome to Oklahoma sign, because it was right on the border of Oklahoma. And I was like, I actually accomplished something pretty incredible in my life. I got Dad's car done, which was a dream of his, and I drove it this far, which is the dumbest thing I could probably ever do, because what a lot of people don't know about the car, and which you're gonna find out now, is that car still to this day is stock front suspension. I haven't touched it other than greased it.
Yeah.
It's needless to say, it needs a lot of work on front suspension. The air shocks on it, or the air shocks Dad had on it, they're bottomed out. They don't hold air anymore, so it's just riding on leaf spring. The worst part of that car was the trunk pan. The whole floor and everything in the car is solid. This car does not have a lot of rust at all.
Nice.
There was just a couple holes in the floor pan. Well, at the time, I was in a hurry to go to college with that car, and I was like, I'm not going to make it. I can't make it with this gas tank, the original gas tank. Well, a guy from in town had my old 32-gallon fuel cell out of my old race car. And I was like, I know how to weld. I'm a welder. I'll put I'll put a new trunk floor pan in later. Screw it. We're putting this fuel cell in. So I've got a 32-gallon fuel cell blocked up on 2x4s in the trunk. Still now it kind of looks cool from the back. It's like, dang, what's that hanging out from under the kick panel? And then you realize it's a fuel cell.
That's fun.
And it's not cheap. I get funny looks at the gas station too, because you open up the trunk and then I've got a yardstick or a meter stick that I drop in the fuel cell to measure the fuel. They were like, what in the hell are you doing? I need to know how much fuel I'm burning.
That is funny.
But I mean, the story, it's a pretty cool story anyways. For me, it's lasted through the family. But the build on it, how Dad had it built, he was originally intending on drag racing it. Okay. Because back then they didn't think they were just cars, they didn't think they were going to be super valuable, I guess. And I sold the he had a Wyand all polished tunnel ram high rise
Cool.
that I sold a long time ago, and kind of mad I sold it, but I'm kind of glad I didn't use it because I'm glad how I have it. I flattened that purple shaft cam, and so I put a Howard's 288 or 289 488 stage 4 cam in it. This thing, and you can see in whether it's like my TikTok or Facebook and whatnot, I've had a lot of haters on it. And that car I got done on a time frame with very little money and a lot of help from my dad's old friends and my family. And there's a lot of zip ties, a lot of electrical tape. I've went through 4 alternators. There's, the only brand new parts I've put in that thing is a brand new aluminum radiator that I got from Radiator Depot in Omaha, Nebraska. An electrical fan, which are nice. I'll never use a normal fan again. I will always use electric fans. They blow a lot of air, and like a new steering wheel. The steering wheel I got on it now, it's the original Tough wheel that it came with, but I've got zebra print duct tape wrapped all the way around it. I was in a bind and I didn't have black, so I just had to use zebra print at the time, and I never fixed it.
That's hilarious.
It's God made me honest, not very bright. So
I feel the same way. For me.
There's a lot of things. Like I said, my whole goal for this car, it's not to restore it. I never want to restore this car. I kind of want to keep it the way it is. It is a survivor car. It's lasted this long, and it's still. You've seen pictures and videos with it where the paint's actually shining. That's still the original paint.
It looks great.
It's before Dad had it, somebody had repainted the engine bay. Okay. And somebody had attempted to repaint the lower rear quarters behind the rear tires. So you will notice in some pictures, you being a Mopar guy, you can tell, obviously, or any body guy, you can tell. But there will be a dull red underneath the back rear quarter, on the lower rear quarters, on both sides. It'll be a dull red. It won't be as shiny, and that's where they tried to do that. But other than that, it's all the original paint. Rally dash, slapstick, the 8 3/4 with the 410 gears that are in it right now. My dad put those in high school. I don't remember what it had before that, but I'm going to keep the 410s in it. Just because it's old school. And, down the road, like my fiance and I, we get married this coming June, and we're trying to find our own place right now. I'm in her in-laws' basement because we're living with her parents. And when we get our own place and I kind of get my own little garage or shop, I can kind of keep going on it and do some other things. I'd like to, I want to do the engine bay wiring completely, because obviously you shouldn't be going through alternators like I am constantly. But it's the whole thing still, it's a learning curve for me.
Sure.
It's, I've had a lot of hate on it, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that do appreciate that car, because at least here in Iowa, there's not a lot of them. If there is, you don't see them out and about driving. Everybody's kind of scared to get them out. I think it's hilarious because I'll show up in the city, whether it be like Des Moines or Omaha, with it. And of course it's open header and you're going down the 4-lane or whatever. Nobody wants to get near you. They're just scared to death of getting anywhere close to that car. And it's hilarious. You set off car alarms all the time, and it's a good time. But no, it's just kind of a labor of love. It's a constant progression for me. And, I heard about you guys talking about the Sikeston, Missouri deal, and I'm like, oh my God, that's 5 hours for me. Like, this is doable. This is doable.
That sounds like the
So
perfect car to bring to the event.
you know what? Knowing my luck, I'd be the oil down person because that RTV silicone probably won't be fixed. It'll still be on there.
I don't know. I bought a 318 and a 904 for $200.
It's, you know what? I screwed up too because you speaking of a 318, I sold it had been 2 or 3 years ago. I had an 86 D150, just a single cab short box. It was a straight truck, but you know, it wasn't pristine by any means. And it was originally a slant six Nebraska DOT truck, and it had been repainted black. And some guy put a 360 in it, just nothing fancy, just wore out 360 basically. And I drove it 6 hours from where I bought it to back home overnight. I bought it at like midnight and got back at like 6 a.m. with it. Had dry rotted tires, and this. I've done a lot of stupid things, but sometimes it's just I'm not a very patient person. I'm very impatient. So, and my fiance could tell you that multiple times that she's had to tell me we'll be at the store, or I'll be like, I need to get this for my car. She's like, no, you don't. You don't need it. It's like, okay, fine. But that 360 I had, it blew a head gasket, and I took a picture of it one time. It was blowing out the radiator, and it looked like nitrous purge. I got a picture. I'll have to send that to you. It's pretty funny. But I ended up buying a kid's 318 out of like a 78 LeBaron or something weird like that. He was gonna he had it in like a demolition derby car, and he was like, "I'll sell it to you for like $200." And I was like, "Okay." And of course, I took the top end off the 360 because I had a 4-barrel on it, and put the intake on the 318 and screwed up because I forgot 360s externally balanced where 318s internally balanced. And so I put the torque converter on the 318 from the 360, and you drive 60, 65 down the highway. It's like vibrating the whole time. It's like, God, I'm an idiot. So I sold it to some kid for like $1,400. I kind of feel like an ass, but kid wanted it. It was some high school kid. He was like, "Oh, this thing's awesome. Like, I'll do so much cool stuff with this." And he called me like he got an hour down the road, and him and his buddy stopped to get something to eat. He was like, "How do you start this thing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? You don't even need to pump the pedal. It's just a 318 with like the gas is right there." And I was like, slap the pedal once and turn the key, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we got it." Fired it up. It worked. I was like, okay. And I wish I would have kept that though, because I still got that 360. I'd like to refresh or, go through that 360 and rebuild it. And because I'm going to keep that. And I want to find I've been on this random hunt for a bunch of Mopar motors. There's a guy around here. He's got a 400 and a 413 that he's got for sale. And then there's a guy not too far from me that's got a 273, and I want to buy a 273. That way when, my fiance and I get married, and I'm not afraid of her getting rid of me for bringing home random Mopars out in some guy's random pasture. I got plenty of motors I can stuff in stuff. That's my goal, anyways. I'm making cruise culture apparel guys. That I'm representing a lot of their T-shirts. I've got them designing me like a speed shop logo, even though I don't own a speed shop. And it's always been kind of a dream deal for me. So I was like, do it. And then that way you don't feel like an idiot. It's something to look forward to. And so it's kind of my goal anyways. But no, like I said, the car's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I gotta thank my grandma and a lot of my dad's friends that still look over me. And
Sure.
And one of the coolest things, my fiance, she got a ride in it. She's only ridden it one time.
Oh, really?
Yep. Last year. And we we live on a gravel road, and so we drove up about a mile and a half to where there's a fresh, literally perfect half-mile pavement. and I just let her eat and ended up breaking 3 wheel studs.
Jesus.
Yep. Like I said, there's a lot of things that need done to it, but on the outside it looks great. But no, there will be one. Like I said, when we get our own place and I get back, it sits in the machine shed back home where it's safe. And when we get our own place and we got a garage, I can bring it back down here. And
hold on a second, Dylan. Hold on a second, Dylan. I've been seeing this shit. I've been seeing this shit in the chat. And it's been bothering the hell out of me. In all my time streaming on Facebook, I've never seen bullshit like this. And then
you're seeing the same thing I am. Right?
I get over onto YouTube, and then I start seeing this shit. Apparently, the wet girls like 70 Challenger RTs, I guess. And I'm trying to block them, and it's not letting me.
It's better than guys, I guess. But.
Oh, it's absolutely better than guys. Now, Dylan, I do have to say, before you bring any Mopar engines home, you need to go buy that cat a bag of food, because that son of a bitch is hungry.
Hear it?
That son of a bitch is hungry, bro.
I feel it's got soft food right now. I feel bad. You guys have probably been driving you nuts.
I've been wanting.
I was trying not to laugh,
dude.
God, the background just.
I wanted to crack a joke so bad, but I was trying to listen to the story, and I'm just hearing this poor cat in the background. I'm like, that guy's going, hey, dipshit, get off of the computer and feed me.
He's got some food. God, I feel bad. I'm sorry.
Dude, it was hilarious. I was actually watching the chat, and I was like, somebody's got to say something about this cat. He's the star of the show.
Yeah, meanwhile, a dog that's there, another dog.
That's my little Hellcat now.
I could never do a live stream with my animals in the room. I got 3 bulldogs. It would be a disaster.
It's so funny. Marissa, my fiance, God bless her, she looked at me and she was just like, that cat's gonna make so much noise if you're going live with those guys. And I was like, I got the blanket over. I mean, and the headphones on, like it should. Once again, she's right, like always.
Psych.
That's hilarious. I'm surprised that the wet girl thing got more attention than the cat. I'm gonna change the name of this episode to Hellcat. No, that's a great story, man. I love hearing stories about people that get their it's usually a dad get their dad's Mopar and still have the car. That's really cool.
My dad, it's kind of cool too. My uncle, that 70 Cuda he owned, he sold it to a local guy, and that guy still to this day has it, but it is bad. It's really, really bad. So it's in some guy's basement, not far from back home, just a few miles, and it's toast. And my dad's best friend, he's tried to buy it so bad and try and
really
restore it so we can have it to keep with my red car. And the guy just won't sell it, which I don't blame him. You know, you got a Cuda, you ain't selling that to anybody. But yeah. No, like I said, that story, it's always fun to share. I mean, it's not better than anybody else's story ever, but at least in Iowa, you don't see a lot of 70 Challengers. If you do, it's not. There's a TA not too far from here. That's pretty wicked, 344 speed car, and that's pretty cool. And there's a couple others, but it's really sparse and you don't see them out and about. So
that's crazy. I got friends up in Iowa, and I always hear about these farmers having nice collections of Mopars that they won't let go of, and I'm like, God.
Yeah,
there's a dude in Kenosha that has a 69 Daytona just rotting in his backyard.
Shit.
Yeah,
man.
And see, a lot of these things you see on YouTube and online and whatnot, you're seeing not a ton of Midwest states, because a lot of the farmers and stuff in the Midwest, they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And right now, I mean, off the top of my head, I can name 10, 11, 12 places that I know of that they're still, there's a I think it's a 70 orange Roadrunner sitting in some guy's pasture that cattle have been rubbed up against all the time. It's still there. There's a 74. There's a 74 gold duster with slant six. Some 8. He's got to be 90 now. That my dad knew him, and he's a farmer. He always came into my dad's tractor implement that my dad worked at. He's got that, and then his son's got a GTX, or it's a satellite with a fiberglass front end and a 440 under it. And
Sweet.
They're just sitting behind the barn, just sitting there. They won't sell it to nobody. There's a bunch of them. They're literally, the craziest one I seen was a pink 72 or 3 CUDA with I don't remember what motor it had. There was a I'm not even kidding. The front radiator mount had a chain around it, and it was chained to a tree out in the front yard. Somebody was afraid it was going to go somewhere.
I mean,
so, which I don't blame them.
Yeah, no shit.
There's at least in Iowa, they're around, but you got to know where to look.
It's like Wisconsin too. I mean, there's like, I'll be driving up to like Eagle River to go see my buddy up there, which is like 5 hours away. And any little, like, it can be like a fender, a headlight or something. You look and it's like, oh, it's a Super B, or oh, it's a Duster. It's this, it's that. And they're just sitting in the backyards or on the sides of houses.
It's almost like the owners like want you to see a little bit of the car. You know what I mean? Because I've seen some where I'm like, they could have totally hidden that better. They're just waiting for some asshole like me to come along with a camera and take pictures of it.
No, there's one of the neater ones I seen. It was in this person's barn in Western Iowa. I was up there with a friend. He was like, "Hey, my parents are renting this house or whatever, and in the barn, we went just messing around in the barn. There was a car cover on something. Went back there. It was a 69 Charger.
Really?
And I don't remember if the motor in it was in it or not or whatever, but you could tell the farmer didn't. I was like, probably shouldn't be in here, but we're going to look anyways. And that was one of the cooler ones I'd seen, but there's just my whole goal is kind of odd, obviously. But I want a couple of the different, like a 64 5 Barracuda with,
cool.
Like example, that 273, with like just an EFI 2 barrel I want to do. And, I want a little muscle truck, but nothing. I've got my big block. I shouldn't say I don't need another big block, because that's the wrong way to talk about it. But, there's just a bunch of different things I want to do that are kind of odd, and I've got my matching numbers car, and I don't have to worry about looking for another one, because there's no way in heck I'm ever going to afford another one. But,
that's crazy, man. The difference between a guy like you and a guy like Johnny Mopar is Johnny's got all these Chargers, and you will never hear Johnny go, I kind of want a 64 Barracuda with a 273.
I like to be different, and everything I'm going to have, I want to get to the point one day, like right now, my truck that my fiance drives all the time, just a 2013 Ram. I want to get to the point, once that's paid off, all of my vehicles that I own, I don't want anything over 99. I want anything, I want to be able to work on stuff and not have to deal with electronic stuff, unless it's like a Holly EFI deal or something like that. I drive an hour, 10 minutes to work where I work. And, I want to get to the point where no matter what, you're going to have to pay gas, whether it's $1.89, which I don't know if we'll ever get back to, or, $3.23. One way or another, you're going to have to pay for it. And I want to do it where I'm at least enjoying it. And if I can do it in something like a 64 Barracuda with a 273, I'm going to do it. But so there's just a bunch of things I want to do, and that are different from a lot of people's views, but it's always going to be Mopar oriented. I'm not going to ever change that.
Man.
So
I always like, the the guys that, stray away from the pack and do their own thing. That's good. That's not like I know that it seems like vans are coming back a little bit, but I know that a lot of people they've asked me like, what is it with you and vans? And I keep having to explain myself. It's like, I like boogie vans. I'm sorry. Shit. What do you want from me?
Could be like the Kyle Rittenhouse and Kenosha, where he's like 4 doors more horrors, but vans don't have 4 doors, so you're gonna have to make something up.
Dude, I
Some
can't
have barn doors.
when I saw that in the trial, because I watched the trial, because I thought, and they said his name on there, I was dying laughing. Anytime you hear a lawyer have to be serious, like, is your Twitter handle or what was it, Snapchat or something? It's like, was it 4 doors for more whores?
He's straight faced.
Oh, TikTok, that's right. Dude, he did. I would have been like, hell yeah, follow me. What's up?
That kid's a hero.
I can't, because this is my channel, I cannot make a comment, but I am pretty pleased with the outcome of that trial.
Oh yeah. That's the one thing, and I'm trying to. I hate talking. I do not talk about politics because it drives me nuts, and I don't care what side of the fence you're on. With anybody, like I always try to be the most humble person, but it comes to a point. It's like I can't do it. Like I've had to delete so many people, even if they're my friend. I've had to deal with because I just can't. I can't.
I mean, I've had friends try and
cars or something else. I don't want anything to do with it.
I mean, I've had friends try and talk politics to me, and I'm like, nope, don't even do it.
Out.
Out. No.
It's the one topic that can like it's worse than like a Chevy versus a Mopar or a Ford versus a Mopar chat. Like
LF and a Mopar. What?
Like it's like
God.
that can be like a fun like back and forth, talk shit session. But when you get into politics, man, the knives and guns and brass knuckles come out. It's crazy.
Well, I mean,
it's funny. Speaking of brass
depends,
knuckles,
though.
Speaking
it depends on what.
So,
certain topics like that too, like hard like Mopar purists and whatnot. Like I had a guy yell at me for throwing a lift off Hemi hood scoop on my Duster, and he was like, "That's not period correct." That's stupid.
Yeah, you get those guys, but
It's like, really, dude? I was like, it's a 6-cylinder car originally. I was like, it's not that valuable.
I like those guys because they're entertaining to me. Because I'm like, God, you're getting offended. It's what somebody else is doing with their car. You know what I mean? That's why I got so excited when I opened one of my Christmas presents for my wife, and it was I tried being a little bit of a troll, and I put this fake Lamborghini wing on my Amazon list, and she bought it for me because she's like, what the hell is this? And I was like, it's for the van. And she's not the biggest fan, I'll say that, but she's like, I'm not buying you this. And then she got it for me, and I was like, oh, you're trying to troll me back. I'm gonna put this on the damn van because I don't give a damn what people think about me. So
I saw that, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like I said it before. Like with boogie vans, there really are no set rules. So it's all in good fun,
It was funny. It was funny you brought up brass knuckles there a second ago, because when I took my red Challenger down to Kansas when I went to college down there, I didn't have I couldn't take my gun or my handgun with me. I couldn't, and so I was like, I don't have anything like my jack bar. I got my jack in the trunk, but
that'll do some damage.
No joke. One of my dad's younger brothers opened his lock's box, and there lies, no joke, a set of brass knuckles, and I'm like, yes, and took them with me. So.
I mean, I keep a metal bat in my truck and a metal bat in the Duster.
There's a couple times we'd be driving down the strip in Ark City, Kansas, and I'd put them on my left hand with my hand out the window, just like don't even try it.
I have to say though, when you were talking about driving that car to college and you had to sleep it and stuff, I was like, man, he's a lot tamer of a guy than me, I would have been like, I got a 70 Challenger. I'm gonna get some girls with this thing.
So,
I'd be going to every bar like, what's up, ladies?
the wild thing about that was I showed up in town. I left a day before a day before you could get into the dorms, because I don't like being late for anything, and I didn't know what problems I was going to run into driving that far in that thing. And so I made multiple stops, obviously for fuel and just checking everything over multiple times. And there's actually one stop I made that probably the craziest thing in my entire life happened, and it blows my mind. My dad's best friend that owns this car dealership, he's a big Mopar collector. And he's got a picture, and my dad had one too. Him and my dad went to the Mopar Nationals in 1990 and 1991. In 1990, I think they took his 70 Hemi Cuda. And then 91, they took an A12 car, I believe. And anyways, there's a picture of this. It was the 90 Nationals of my dad's best friend and my dad sitting in the Hemi Cuda. It's like the annual, they take a picture of you guys in your car, whatever. I'm driving down to Kansas, and I don't remember what town it was. I remember kind of where it's by. It was somewhere near Garnett, Kansas. And I stop, or I kind of slow down. I'm coming around, and I see this little shop, and there is a 68 Dart sitting out there, and I'm like, whoa, Mopar. My reaction, I'm going to whip her around because I'm driving one. I'm going to pull in there and meet this guy just to look at it. I pull up in this lot, and this guy's got Mopars everywhere, and I'm like, whoa. And he's working on another Dart in there, and introduce ourselves or whatever. And he just kind of shows me around his shop, and he said his website was the Mopar Dude or the MoparGuy.com. And anyways, he's walking me around, and we go into his like garage / showroom where him and his wife's vehicles are. He had a little Red Express, a Plum Crazy Purple Cuda, I think, a couple others. And he has this little lounge area. And in this lounge area, he's got photo albums of different events him and his wife have been to. And I open up one that says 90 Mopar Nationals. I'm like, cool. My dad and my dad's best friend were in there. No joke. Swear on my dad's headstone, there is the picture of my dad and my dad's best friend in that 70 white Cuda. And I'm in the middle of Kansas on the way to college in dad's car. And I'm like, who in the world are you? And how do you have this picture?
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
He was either a guy that took it. It wasn't the same picture, but it was a picture of dad and my dad's best friend in that Cuda. I'm like, and he looked at me and was like, are you serious? I was like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm dead serious. That is my dad.
That's crazy.
And
that's wild.
Craziest thing in the world. And nicest guy in the world. He was like, if you have any problems getting down there, he was like, call me. I'll bring my truck and trailer. I'll load you up. I'll either take you down there or I'll take you back to Iowa. I'm like, perfect, cool. And I get down there finally after that evening, and I meet a couple people, obviously, because 6 hours away, and you're driving something like that with license plates that are not anywhere from around there. And a couple people notice me, and they pull up next to me. They're like, hey, pull over into this. And I'm like, I'm going to get shot. Somebody's going to steal my car. I'm more worried about somebody stealing the car than me getting shot. And I ended up meeting a bunch of cool people in this town. It was a big car town. Bunch of kids my age that didn't have Mopars, but they had a bunch of other stuff, hot rods, and they every night they're cruising the strip. And I was like, that's kind of cool. And I aligned myself with those people, and they told me that very night we were sitting in a car wash parking lot. I was like, is there a place I can sit? Where's the police station? I'll just sit in front of the police station. They're like, go up to Walmart, park under the like parking lot light, and cops are up there all the time. You'll be fine. I'm like, that's sketchy. So I don't know if I'd say I got sleep, but I attempted it. And of course, and those seats, they don't recline. They only lean forward. So I'm there with my legs, I'm 6'3", and my legs are basically on the dash while my head's up against the back seat pad, and most uncomfortable thing in the world. But no, I've had a lot of fun in that car.
Sounds like it.
What needs to change on it, I've still got just a cast iron 4-hole dual plane intake off a 68 Cornet.
Oh, really?
That is junk. Why I haven't put an aluminum dual plane on it, I have no idea. It's just really loud, but it's slow right now. I don't know why. There's a lot of things that I need to go through on it to honestly make it what it needs to be, but I'm just having fun with it right now. I'm not sitting on it in a shop or anything. I go out and drive it, and
there you go.
Probably abuse it a little bit more than it needs to be with broken wheel studs and factory front suspension and bottomed out air shocks.
Hey, go check on that cat. I don't hear it. Is it still alive?
I moved clear across the room.
Oh, that's funny.
I felt so bad.
Oh, no, it's all good, man.
The whole entire show.
I thought it was hilarious. What I do want to explain to people, because I'm sure sometimes I forget that some people are listening to this, right? They're not watching the live. We were talking about wet girls. So in the chat, there's some spam, okay? Like somebody's
don't click on it.
Yeah, definitely don't click on it. Yeah, some
if you do, let us know what happens.
Yeah. Some bot was messaging some dirty stuff, which I thought was pretty funny. And then I was like, oh my God, how many times are they going to comment in here? I was like, oh no. But it's pretty funny. Joe says that it's the Mopar dude in Burlington, Kansas. That's cool. The name sounded familiar,
Yes,
but I wasn't sure.
Him.
Okay.
That is him. Yep. Burlington, Kansas. That is him. Yeah, it was the craziest thing. I was just coming around this curve, and there was a 68 Dart sitting outside. I was like, I'm going to loop it around quick, pull in there. Nicest guy in the world. And it was just the weirdest thing. And I was welding. I was arc welding on a project down in Kansas, literally about 25 miles from him 2 years ago. And I was like, hey, that's not very far. I wonder if that guy's still in business or still around or whatever. And I got on the website and I called him. He was like, yeah, I'm selling most all of my stuff. And I was like, crap. Because I wanted to make it over there and, re-meet him or re-talk to him again. But no, it was just one of the craziest things I've ever been through in my life. And I was super proud. I got to, meet that guy, and freaked me out. Still freaks me out seeing that picture in his photo.
Yeah, that had to have been crazy. I would have done the same thing though if I would have drove by a place and I saw a bunch of Mopars. I do that now. If I see Mopars, turn around.
It drives my fiance crazy. We'll be driving somewhere. It's like, I gotta stop, and she's like, oh my God, just go.
My wife doesn't even bat an eye if I'm like, oh, and I turn around. She'll be like, oh, you saw that, huh? I'm like, yeah, of course I did. I know there's been a couple times I've turned around or stopped, and she doesn't even bother asking, or she already knows. She sees what I see, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my girlfriend, if I see something in like the farm or something else, she's like, nope, just keep driving. Don't even stop.
Keep it up.
I know you want to, just don't.
Those are the girls where you have to go, how long do you want this relationship to last? Because I'm stopping. So
I mean, she deals with me in the Duster and whatnot, and she actually convinced me to get that car.
Really? Well, there you go.
She was like, hey, it's your dream car. Like, you wanted a 72 for the longest time. Like, you have like the opportunity to do this. Like, I think you should do it. And that was like, because I mean, you probably remember I had that 65 Rambler station wagon.
Yeah.
And then I had my motorcycle too. And she was like, I don't like you on the motorcycle because you do stupid stuff, which was true. And then the station wagon, I mean, that's how pretty much me and her met. And she was like, I know there's a lot of like memories with it and everything else, but like, this one's your dream car. Like, you got to go after it. So yeah. I got to thank her for that.
For the longest time, my wife wanted nothing to do with a boogie van. For the longest time, I still think deep down she's just given in. She still hates it, but check this out. So my daughter's 2.5, right? And I came home, I think it was yesterday, and I opened the door from the inside of my garage. It goes into my kitchen, and my daughter was there, and I had the door open, and she came out, and she was looking at the van. I said, "Hey, Daddy's boogie van," and she goes, "Daddy's poopy van," and I was like, "Well." My wife got a kick out of that one. I was like, "You little turd." I said boogie. She said poopy. I said, all right, well, looks like I have another boogie van fan in the family. My wife got a kick out of it.
I just now clicked on the chats deal, and I'm just about to die. I'm rolling out laughing.
Yeah, let's actually I the one thing I still have not perfected yet with these lives is when I go live and I start talking to people that are on screen or whatever, I am reading the chat, and I have a hard time like stopping somebody from talking and acknowledging the people in the chat. So if you're ever watching this and you're in the chat saying something, chances are I'm seeing it. I'm waiting for an appropriate time to acknowledge you, but I see it all. So let me just go through it real quick. Ian,
whoever that Joe 66 is needs to message me.
Joe, do you hear that? Hey, I saw your message that you're recovering from COVID, or you're sitting there with COVID, man. Hey, I hope you get better. There's the
Oh okay. My gosh, it just blew up.
What in the hell is it? Somebody's trolling me. This is not a bot. Somebody's trolling me right now. Here we go again. Loveface.xyz. Online strips without clothing. Hey, no shit. You said strips. This is hilarious. Man. Okay. All right. Man. I've never seen this before in another YouTube channel. I think I'm screwed now.
Somebody click on that and see what happens.
It won't be me. As a matter of fact, the first time I tried blocking him, it was like giving me an error message. I'm gonna try blocking him again. They just keep coming back.
That's it right there.
Yeah. I said only vans, not only fans.
Oh.
Did I post that publicly, like on my Talking Mopars, or is that just on my personal page? My OnlyVans sweatshirt. Oh, yeah, I'm actually gonna.
I need to get one of those. One of your shirts.
Yeah, you can find them on talkingmopars.com in the merch section.
Oh yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna produce the OnlyVans shirts. I just wanted to see if the design would work, and it worked. So I'm gonna get it. Hopefully I don't get sued. I think they changed their logo. Not that I would know, but I'm gonna. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if I can get it posted without getting sued.
That Doug from Illinois, he's got that panel wagon, or that Dodge panel wagon. Dude, that thing's sweet. Have you seen what he did with it?
No.
That thing is on a Dakota RT chassis.
Really?
Oh yeah. And he's the one he's got with it. I don't know what years exactly they are. You'd have to message him. That dude's hilarious. But the other one's on another Dakota RT chassis, and that thing, it's got like alter mud terrain tire or whatever. Whatever. The dude's, he's got some crazy ideas, but he's hilarious. He's a big Dodge guy. But that wagon, that thing's sweet. That's the shirt I'm wearing right now, and
I'll have to check that out.
Dude, that thing is his TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everything. They're funny. That dude's, and he's pretty good at. He was doing the floor work on the other one that he's working on, mounting the floor.
Yeah.
But that guy's pretty cool.
Not trying to cut you guys off. It is like 1:20 in the morning here in Wisconsin. I am the hell out of here.
Logan, thanks for joining us again. We'll see you next time, buddy.
All right, man. We'll see you guys later.
Later, bud.
If you're a car enthusiast like me, then you'd probably enjoy the same books that I do. I love to gain more knowledge about Mopars and cars in general, and that's where my friends at CarTech Books come in. Since 1993, CarTech has become one of the leading publishers of automotive titles for hardcore enthusiasts, with a plethora of titles available in their catalog. They have titles for everyone, whether you're into restorations, high-performance builds, or automotive history. CarTech has it all. They are a company run by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Some of the titles I have in my own library are Chrysler's Motown Missile, Mopar's secret engineering program at the dawn of Pro Stock, new Hemi engines 2003 to present, how to rebuild, muscle car special editions, Chrysler TorqueFly A904 and A727 transmissions, how to rebuild. And look, folks, they have much more than that, and so do I. In my library, I also have books on how to vinyl wrap, modifying XJ Jeep Cherokees for back when I had one of those, and modifying the new Wranglers and Gladiators, and many more. So whether you're looking to expand your knowledge or just want something cooler to put on your coffee table, CarTech has the books for you. Visit cartechbooks.com and find some awesome books to add to your collection today. There you have it, my friends. Another episode of Talking Mopars is in the books. For everything you need to know about this show, you know where to go, talkingmopars.com. And you can reach me by emailing Chris at talkingmopars.com or by leaving me a voicemail on my voicemail box at 209-28-MOPAR. And you just might get to hear yourself on this show. So keep sharing those Mopar stories with me and anything else that is on your Mopar addicted mind. Thank you to my friends over at cartechbooks.com, and also don't forget how important it is to keep your Mopar protected from the elements. If you do need protection like a car cover, don't wait. Head on over to talkingmopars.com, click on the affiliates tab, and go get your Mopar covered today. Before we shut this podcast episode down, if you want some Talking Mopars merchandise like t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and cool swag like that, check out the merch shop on talkingmopars.com. And for exclusive bonus episodes and videos only for my supporters, become a Facebook supporter today and get immediate access to those benefits. There's 12 bonus podcasts and 12 bonus videos waiting for you right now, with more on the way for January. That's it, my friends. Until we talk again, I am your host, Chris Albrecht, and that was Talking Mopars Live.
Thank you for listening to Talking Mopars, your direct connection to all things Mopar. Until next time, remember, no Mopar left behind.